We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
Well, Reds, welcome back to Reds Down Under. No podcast last week, but we are back this week and we're twisting things up a little bit. We're going to be reviewing the World Cup and more importantly, the Reds in action so far. But Joel, first and foremost, before we get to the Reds in particular, how good is it to have football on repeat every single day?
Bro, I love it, honestly. I obviously the World Cup doesn't come around for every few years. And I forget every few years how much I love it. It's just having footy on every single day. Oh, it's so good. And it makes you realise, well, with the Prem, when you're watching Liverpool and it's once a week or twice a week, it's just not the same. Football every single day. I love it, lad.
Yeah, it certainly is great to have so much coverage on SBS as well, which has been like in the kickoff times as well, which we spoke about, have been quite suitable. Let's quickly fire through some quick fire things that have impressed us at the World Cup so far before we get into the Liverpool players. Firstly, what games caught your eye? Obviously, so much football to be played. I'm going to go Netherlands, Japan 2-2. That was in round one, the opening match. But a few Liverpool lads in the Netherlands team. But what games caught your eye?
Yeah, that's a good one. Netherlands, Japan, both good teams. I'm always impressed with Japan. And obviously, our boys, Gakpo in particular for the Netherlands, always shows up. For me, I'd say my sort of, are we talking like our favourite game?
It's tricky because I know we were speaking off there. We were going to mention the Australia one, so
Yeah.
I'm easy. Whatever you're thinking, like.
Yeah, like if we're talking like favourite game to watch, it probably is either Australia, Turkey on round one, first game. Just obviously Australia getting a 2-0 win after having to defend for a lot of the game. But that's obviously why we love football as well, just because it's so unpredictable. But also I've been a really big fan of, I don't know what they call them, like the minnows, the small countries that have pulled off some massive results. Cape Verde against Spain 0-0. And then they went and drew with Uruguay as well and scored 2 goals in the process. So that was a super, super impressive performance. And then we've got like Curacao. I know they got spanked by Germany in the first game. But the second game they drew 0-0 with Ecuador. And yeah, it was just I just love, these small countries in the first World Cup, just exciting us.
No, I agree. They're matching it with some of those bigger countries massively. Indeed. So many shock results as well, especially that Spain one earlier in the tournament. Let's talk about player of the tournament so far. And I know a lot of people will have their eyes on Messi and what he's done in the opening few games from Argentina. But Joel, has there been anyone else that's caught your eye?
Oh, mate, to be honest, all of the sort of big boys, top players have all turned up so far. Mbappe scored a number of goals. All the French boys have been looking good. I know Lamine scored yesterday, was it? Haaland has been banging them in. Who else? What about you? Who's really impressed you?
Yeah, I agree. Haaland seems to have been there for Norway. Talking about Norway. I love their chant. I don't know if you've seen it at the row where they all go back. That celebration that just adds to it as well. Yeah, I think everyone you mentioned, like the big guns are coming out to play. There was a bit of doubt over Ronaldo. Obviously, he flipped the script and grabbed a brace, and maybe that kickstarts something for Portugal. Who knows? What about disappointment in terms of teams so far, Joel? Who have you got that hasn't caught your eye? I've gone with Uruguay just because 2 games in now and they just haven't looked at the races.
Yeah. I think we mentioned off air before. Like I'm never impressed with Uruguay. Who would I say? Um, who's a team? Like every tournament was said, oh, these are going to be dark horses, but every tournament they're nothing special. Is there anyone that's disappointed you in that sense, where like there's been hype before the tournament of them doing something like special, and then again they haven't? Maybe I know Brazil have won today. Brazil have beat Scotland today 3-0, but they're just not the Brazil of old, are they? Like, we've got the Pele shirt in the back. Obviously, you're probably too young, but obviously, like on the last episode with Tom, we talked about like our favorite World Cup memories, my first World Cup memories, and obviously France '98, like Brazil getting to the final, and then Brazil in 2002 winning it. It's like this current Brazil team are light years away. They're not even fun to watch anymore in comparison to those old Brazil teams.
It's funny because they're going about their business quietly, and they picked up a massive win this morning. But yeah, heading into this tournament, I was sort of expecting not too much from them. But hey, they're proving a lot of people wrong so far. Neymar back as well. Dark horse so far. This one's a tricky one because so many teams have rose to the occasion. I call with Mexico. Nothing on the line again this morning for them to play for, or certainly at the
Yeah.
time we're recording this. Still picked up a 3-0 win and top of their group. Who have you got?
Yeah, Mexico's a good one. Like you said, they've won all their games. They've not really looked under pressure or anything. I'm probably gonna go for our old mate, Luis Diaz's team, Colombia. Um, I know obviously at the time of filming this, they've only played 2 games, won two games. They're still got to play Portugal, I'm thinking, the last game of the group. But yeah, they look good. They're full of goals. Again, like Mexico, they're not really looked under pressure. And I don't know, I've just got a feeling for them.
Yeah, I think they're again another team that work for each other. Luis Diaz as well, what a player here. Tore it up for Bayern last year and again for Colombia.
Yeah,
Doing that.
what a player. I know, like, we let him go and we definitely missed him last season, the Liverpool, the Reds. But what a player, what a season he's had. I don't know if did you see his dad's just nuts? Did you see the video of his dad when Colombia scored? I think it was Diaz who'd scored and his dad was in the stands just acting a fool, as always.
I haven't seen that one from the World Cup, but I've certainly seen him supporting Diaz in like the corporate boxes in its stadiums.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's everywhere.
Yeah, he's a bit of a mad one, him, like.
All right, let's get into the Liverpool players themselves because Joel, there's a handful of them. Some doing a little bit better than others, but overall, when you look at Liverpool players that go on international duty, and obviously this is the biggest occasion for football, they tend to do well. Let's firstly start with the two that are not going to call Anfield home next season, and the one that probably hurts the most is Mohamed Salah. Now, Egypt, their first group game, Salah showed a lot of positive signs. Got the assist in their 1-1 draw with Belgium,
Yeah.
and then he backed it up with a huge win for Egypt against New Zealand to secure their spot in the round of 32. But he just seems to be, I don't know if you've caught too much of him, but enjoying his football. He's dropping deep at times to actually pick up the ball, which you never used to seeing. You're used to seeing the ball
Yeah.
going out to be on the right, left, right, center. So it just excites me to see him enjoying his football.
Yeah. I think I seen on the team sheet it said that he was playing centrally. I think he was supposed to be in like the 10 or centre mid, but then when I actually watched the game, he was outright the majority of it. Yeah, look, I know it's like the world's best players at the World Cup, but I still always think international football in general is just slower. More teams play quite defensive. So it's not going to be as tough as it was last season for him playing in the Prem. But I mean, Salah's one of those for me, Harry, where same as Liverpool, he cannot do nothing on the pitch, and then he'll still come up with the goods. So fair play to him. Like I said, I watched a bit of Egypt's last game, and he wasn't really doing much, but I know he got a goal and an assist. Did you say?
Yeah, goal and assist. They proved very vital as well because that meant they topped the group. So yeah,
I think
huge
that
for
was.
Mo.
I don't know if I'm right in saying that was Egypt's first ever win at the World Cup finals.
You got me thinking here.
No, I'm pretty sure it was, lad. Because what was Egypt's first game?
Would have been Belgium. They had the
Yes, that was a draw, wasn't it?
yeah.
So they won yesterday, and it was definitely their
Yeah.
first ever World Cup win. They've never
Wow.
ever was going to say first, no. Yeah, definitely the first ever World Cup win, mate. Crazy.
Well, let's go to someone who's probably hasn't enjoyed his football that much in the last 2 games for Scotland. Former Liverpool player Andy Robertson, who decided for Spurs ahead of next season. Now, look, Scotland got off to a huge start against Haiti, winning 1-0, kept the clean sheet. He couldn't ask for a better start. Then the last 2 games, let's touch on this morning's one against Brazil because Robertson was subbed off at halftime in the 3-0 loss to Brazil. So, still, it's tough because we know how much he wanted to put into this World Cup. We saw his interview talking about Jota and how the dream was to always go to a World Cup with him and how much he was going to have him in the back of his mind. But it's fair to say that the Morocco and Brazil have defeated Scotland with ease.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Morocco and Brazil are good teams. In particular, Morocco, a very good team. Like you said, Robbo getting subbed at halftime is not great. Yeah, so that's unfortunate for him. But I'm sure he's Scotland captain, isn't he? I'm sure, like they've definitely still got a chance to go through, as far as I'm aware. So, look, hopefully, they continue and he can end his World Cup on a high and take that into next season. And we wish him all the best. Hope he has a great season.
Yeah, well, we're not sure where Scotland sort of stand in the group and better rate for a few more results. But for Mo Salah, wishing him all the best in the round of 32 and beyond. Let's get to the current Liverpool players now. Well, let's start with Alexander Isak, a player who we mentioned in our end of season review was so hot and cold at times, didn't have much service. And in the Sweden side, it's been interesting to see him play a 2 up top with Arsenal striker Victor Gyökeres. Got off to the perfect start in the 5-1 win in game 1 against Tunisia, a goal and 2 assists. Did drop off though in the second game against Netherlands where they lost 5-1 to a handful of Liverpool players. But Isak himself really proved himself in that first game.
Oh, look, mate, I think deep down we all know he's a top player. I know he didn't have the best of seasons. His downfall is that he's just always injured, isn't he? But no, even against Netherlands, I thought he looked decent. He looked sharp. He definitely looked fitter. And like you said, I know in the couple of the games before the World Cup, he scored a few worldies. So hopefully, obviously for us, we want our players to have a great tournament and come back to pre-season just sharp, confident, and so long may it continue for Isak.
Yeah, we certainly wish him all the best. And like I said, it's been good to see him combined with our Arsenal striker, Gyökeres. So a big final game remaining for him and Sweden. Now let's go to your man, Cody Gakpo, Joel. So much in the Premier League season for Liverpool. I know there was so much debate about, how I think I even heard the commentator say in one of the games, what Cody Gakpo is going to do. But to be fair, Joel, he's delivered a quiet first game in the 2-2 draw against Japan. Second game, though, against Sweden. 2 goals, 1 assist. Those 2 goals coming just after half time. But he is predictable at times, but when he's on, especially for Netherlands, he can certainly be a threat.
Oh, mate, for the Dutch, he's a complete different player, mate. In fact, I don't want to say that in the sense that, like you said, he is very predictable. Every time I watch Gakpo, I don't understand how defenders can't defend against him because I'm like, he does that same cut in, trying to get a shot off all the time. But like I said, I don't know if that's because international football's easier or what. It just seems to work for him for Holland. And again, another player, like you just want these Liverpool players to have a good World Cup, come back with confidence, and bring that into the new season for us under the new manager.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what role he plays under Iraola. But yeah, so far so good for Cody Gakpo. It's a love-hate relationship, isn't it, with him, especially for what he did for Liverpool this season. Let's go to one of his teammates, one of 3 Liverpool players playing in the Netherlands team, Ryan Gravenberch, a player who started the season really well for the Reds. Again, always impresses when he puts on the Netherlands shirt. 2 assists in the first game against Japan. My question, and this is something that a lot of people have posed, is Ryan Gravenberch better playing more advanced or sitting deeper? Because 2 of those assists come from him playing higher up the field in more attacking positions.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It's a good question, really, because the bits of him I've seen so far in the World Cup, he's another player, like you mentioned with Salah, he just looks happy and free. And like, I know in the first game against Japan, he just looked really sharp. So yeah, uh, I always when he goes forward and attacks for Liverpool, I always just I'm not fully convinced with him. But yeah, like you said, he definitely seems free so far in a World Cup and just full of energy. So again, yeah, hopefully it continues.
Yeah, most certainly. Let's go to Virgil van Dijk now. One goal to open up the scoring in the first game against Japan. It
Yeah.
kick-started things off of a Gravenberch cross, Van Dijk header. It's trademark, isn't it? But how keen is he going to be if Netherlands progress? Because I know how much Netherlands would have been hurting from getting knocked out by Argentina in the semi-finals of the last World Cup. Can they go deep?
Yeah, I don't see why not. A lot of these the so-called big nations or whatever, look, they've got the firepower, they've got the squads to sort of go the whole way. And you know what it's like. England's a good example of it. You don't really need in the World Cup, you don't really need to impress. You just got to get over the line, and especially like it looks like they're going to finish top of their group. Well, I think they are top. They have finished top, so they're going to get an easier draw in the next round. All you've got to do at this stage of the World Cup is sort of drip across the line until you get to like the quarters, the semis, and it's anyone's game then, you know.
Yeah, certainly. They are top as it stands, equal first with Japan, but they also play in the morning that we are recording this against fourth place Tunisia. So another game there for the Liverpool Stars to impress. Before we move on, Joel, this episode is sponsored by our friends at worldkits.com.au. Get Liverpool kits and loads of other international kits. And Joel, you can now get 10% off per kit with a Res Down code, which is for those at home, RDU10, all in capitals, RDU10. So that's certainly an exciting partnership.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I said, anyone who watched the previous episode know how much I love kits. As you can see, absolute classics there. 1970 Brazil. What year Argentina is that? 1976. But yeah, I love kits. And if you do love kits, go and check out worldkits.com.au. Use our code RDU10 and you'll get $10 off every kit. So like we said last time, you get free kits, you get $30 off, and so on. So yeah, go and treat yourself.
Right, Reds, yes, like Joel mentioned, make sure to go check out worldkits.com.au for banging shirts like Joel showed us behind. A couple more Liverpool players that are on international duty that have not caught the eye of multiple people, but certainly doing the job for their nations. Let's start off with Florian Wirtz. Up and down season in Liverpool colours. Got an assist to start things off in Germany's huge win. But Joel, I feel like there's still more to come from him in with Germany pretty much automatically guaranteed qualification to the round of 32. I feel like he might start to come into gear as the tournament progresses.
Yeah. Germany are flying, aren't they? Yeah, they've all looked good. They've got it. Now that you say that, I'm thinking Germany's up there with me favourites now that I think about it. I know they had like an easy first game and they spanked Curacao, but they've got players that I wasn't even aware of. Nemecha, Nathaniel Brown, and these are starting for them. I've never even heard of them, if I'm honest. And I'm watching them like, yo, these are good. These are good. And like I said, they've not been tested properly yet. But when I've watched them and Wirtz in particular, you know, again, these players all just look free, look like they're enjoying it. Wirtz still baby kicks. You seen him have a shot the other day. He just can't get power on a shot. But in terms of technical ability, man, he's so good.
Yeah, it's crazy. You could see that first assist in the first game, the way he dragged it back and then a little layoff for they had to work hard in that second game, but 2 wins from 2, I'm sure they won't be complaining. I'll tell you someone else who won't be complaining, and it's not just because Argentina are doing the business, but he's also witnessing Messi in the same team. That is Alexis MacAllister. Now, Joel, an up and down season in terms of Liverpool colours, but when he pulls on the Argentina shirt, he doesn't necessarily do anything great. But I feel like with Argentina, as long as you're doing your role to assist Messi, it's happy days.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? The whole Argentina team is just built around like used to hold the graft little Lionel will just stroll around the pitch. At times he doesn't even stroll, bro. That first goal in the first game, mate, there's a video of him. He's just standing still like an actual statue. But yeah, I mean that shows how good he is. The guy's like, late 30s. I remember watching the last World Cup and thinking, there's no way that he makes it to another World Cup. I just felt like he was slowing down then. And then obviously since then, he's not been playing at the top level. He's been playing in the MLS, So you feel like then, just like as players like us, if once we start playing over 35, you can't go back. So I just genuinely thought, nah, he's not gonna. But yeah, mate. We were talking before, wasn't we? We were saying Argentina have scored 5 goals in this World Cup across the 2 games, and he scored all 5 of them. That's insane. And even more so, seeing him, I think his second goal yesterday, or I don't know what day, you're getting mixed up with all my days now. His second goal in Argentina's last game was on like the 95th minute. So the fact that he's still on the pitch for 95 minutes when there's no reason for him to be just tells me like actually he's sharper than I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that game, the World Cup final in 2022, it sort of felt like it was a fairy tale ending. That was his last World Cup. Was it Ronaldo's last World Cup as well? But like you said, having a hand in every single Argentina goal so far is incredible. Like I know they took him off in the first game, after he got that hat trick just to reserve him and prevent him a bit. But like you said, the fact that they've got the confidence and he can pop up at the 95th minute to score is incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, like you can't, true talent, true ability like that. It's timeless, mate. Honestly, like I said, he's walking around, and like you said, they're built around that. They're built around, and you can see it in the players, like before the game and after how they treat it. You can tell that they genuinely don't mind doing all the dirty work because they know they've got a player that is just, an alien when he has the ball to his feet. He missed a penalty in the last game. And I think anytime you see Messi miss a penalty, your head falls off because you forget he's human. So to see him miss a penalty, but then he dusts himself off, scores another 2 is crazy. And like you said, MacAllister for Argentina, again, like you said, he doesn't pick up any trees, but he just does his job. And he's an important piece in the cog that is Argentina. Obviously it was probably the last World Cup really when he sort of got himself into that Argentina team as like a mainstay, and yeah, he hasn't looked back since.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think especially for Alexis, like he doesn't have to do too much because Argentina are so possession based. So huge for him. Joel, let's lastly touch on the Socceroos before we wrap up things. You mentioned the Turkey game and how much of a delight that was to watch. But in terms of this final group stage game, Paraguay, it's a tricky one, a lot at stake. Let's hope we can see more of what we saw in the first game, a few more players starting, but obviously we're hoping to finish on a high.
Yeah, mate. Like I said, I think that first game against Turkey was a great game. I really enjoyed watching it. Against USA, I actually, especially in the second half, I don't think the Socceroos were too bad, mate. I don't think it was levels between the two teams. And look, I hate when people start talking about a managerial, a coach's decisions. But it seems to me that all the pundits, like all the professional pundits and a lot of like the content creators all blaming the fact that he didn't start in Kunde. And who else didn't start?
Conor Metcalf was the goal scorer.
Metcalf was the other goal scorer that didn't start. And then obviously when he made the changes in the second half, they look like a different team. They had a lot more, energy, a lot more pace. Where, like I said, in this World Cup, you're seeing a lot of like teams playing deep or whatever. If you've got pace, mate, you can get at teams in this World Cup. You can cause upsets like they did in the first game. I personally think Australia are through. I think they're already through. I mean, I'm no expert in terms of the the 8 teams that can go through in third place, but I think Australia is safe. But picking up a point or a win, mate, is huge.
Yeah, a point would do, wouldn't it? Like, it'd pretty much all but guarantee. I know a lot of people are pausing their work. I'm not sure how you're gonna juggle tomorrow, Joe, with work. I'm sure you're gonna make way.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully I'm able to watch it. And yeah, and hopefully the Aussies, the Socceroos, get the job done.
That's it. That's it. Massive thank you to you, Joel. This was a sort of a last minute thing here on Reds Down Under, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah, cheers for having me, mate. And as always, you were spectacular being the host. I just answer questions, mate. That's all. But you obviously do the hard work.
Reds, we hope you enjoy your World Cup football. Stick with us here at Reds Down Under. So much more to come, not only from a World Cup perspective, but also heading into Liverpool next season. And hello to Tom and Jack, who are also watching from Liverpool, England, I believe, as well. So good to step into their shoes and cover for Tom. But Reds, make sure you stick with us, like, comment, subscribe, all of those things. We'll catch you next week. Should have a few more episodes coming your way.
Yep, up the Reds.
Up the Reds.